Okay, so we have two more guests on Hockey Time Machine before we close our program, and you're going to see them now. One is Christine Dimoff, and the other, I hope I pronounced this right, is Sil Hargitay.
That's right. You got it.
Good. Because I listened to your podcast, Ladies Talkin' Leafs, and when you guys introduce each other, you only give your first names.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping that you would give your full name so I wouldn't sound too foolish. But enough of that nonsense. Before we get started, we've got the house band here because you guys just celebrated the 2nd anniversary of your podcast, and we wanted to pay tribute.
Oh, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Pour a cheerful toast and fill it, happy anniversary. But be careful you don't spill it, happy anniversary. Oh, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
On this show, there is no expense spared, but I don't need to tell you that. You can see it.
Wow, that was some celebration. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So the reason we brought you on is we want to talk about the phenomenon that is Ladies Talkin' Leafs. You're the ladies, so talk Leafs. And before you do that, talk about what you want our audience to know about your podcast.
Yeah. So first, we want to thank you, Glenn, and you can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I want to thank you and Paul and Lora, the Hockey Time Machine crew, for bringing us on here again. We were on a couple of weeks ago on August 19th. So for everyone that's watching out there, if they want to go back and look at our full interview that we had to find out more about the background about us and about the show, they can go back on Hockey Time Machine or even on our YouTube channel. But so thank you for giving us a few minutes again. And
that was such a great experience for us. We had such a good time. And so now that your viewers know a little bit about us and how we came to be, we thought they might want to know a little bit more information about our show. So the focus of our show is obviously today's Toronto Maple Leafs team, but we also love to celebrate and talk about the history of the show, being that the Leafs are an original 6 franchise. So where you can listen to us, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps. We publish our episodes twice monthly on the first Wednesday of the month, and then a second episode mid-month, also on a Wednesday. And our most recent episode was just released yesterday. And as you said, we are celebrating our anniversary.
Now, we should mention that you guys, you were two ladies talking Leafs to each other long before a podcast got involved. Tell us about that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no.
You go ahead, Chris.
We've known each other for quite some time, from about 1992, I think, is when we first met. And we worked together and at a travel company. And then from what Sil said in the last episode that we were on, she remembers that I invited her to a hockey game, which is probably true because I have this effect on people when many of my friends anyways, and when I used to always talk hockey all the time back in when I was in my more youthful days, and then I had this effect where we just all of a sudden they wanted to come to the game with me. So so we went to the game, and then that was it. We the rest is history. We just kept going and loving the Leafs, and pretty much it. But so just so the people watching as well know that to find us, you can always find us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Our handle is at LTL1917. And you can message us there, and we're encouraging people to engage with us and talk about the Leafs and ask questions. And and we'll get back to you. We'll definitely get back to you.
Sil, I read that your mom, initially at least, wasn't happy that you were into hockey.
No, I think, having like, I have a brother and then there's me. So I think having a girl, I think she just assumed that I would want to do all the girly things, and somewhat I did. Like, I grew up as a dancer, and so I did that. But when I ended up having this attraction and affinity to watching hockey with my dad, I think she kind of felt a little bit left out. But after that, now since we've been doing the podcast, I would say she's probably one of our biggest fans now. So yeah, she's kind of come around a little bit now.
Well, hockey is a girly thing.
I think so.
Okay. Now, I have a tougher question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
You have said, I seem to have a way of making people Leafs fans.
Yes.
So go ahead. What is your elevator pitch to make someone into a Leafs fan?
Well, I basically start when they're born. For example,
she's not kidding about that at all.
Yes. Yeah. For example, I do have I guess we have a new addition in our family. My niece just had a baby boy, and she actually named him Austin. So, yeah. So I didn't even have to do too much for that. Right?
It's the same spelling too, Glenn.
Yeah, but I start them when they're young, basically, like when it comes to family members, especially my nephew, and always getting them Leaf gear and that. But no, when I was in high school, for example, like a lot of my friends, it was, I don't know what it is actually. I guess I just talked about hockey constantly. Like from my uncle, I just got that, I guess that background, and he used to always talk about the Leafs. And then I just when I went to school, I was always saying, like, did you watch the game last night? And the girls just latched on with me, and we used to go down to Maple Leaf Gardens, and when you could go down there and watch the practices, so we used to go down there, watch the practices, and yeah, and that's about it.
I would say I want to add something to that, if you don't mind, Glenn. I don't think she ever has to really convince somebody or convert them. I think it's just talking to her, and it's her passion for the team is so infectious that it's just like it makes you want to follow along, because she just has so much fun with it, and she loves the team so much. So I think that passion comes through when you're talking to her, and that's what converts people.
Well, I like that explanation, because I was a little worried listening to Chris that she was like hanging around maternity wards with hockey pennants and pucks and stuff to tease on.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad we got that straightened out. I want to know a little bit about some of your road trips. I know at least you've gone to Las Vegas and to Arizona to hockey games there. Tell us about those and any other road trips the ladies talking Leafs have been on.
Well, I would say, okay, that was probably our biggest, but not the most recent one. But we've been to a lot of different places. I think the first one we ever went on, which is what gave us the bug to travel with the team, was when we went to watch Montreal, Leaf game in Montreal. And that was early on. So like, I think obviously it must have been 92 or 93. And we were lucky enough at the time, we were able to see games in the Forum too, which was a really, really cool experience. And I think that we just got the bug at that time. And of course, everyone who's had the privilege and to be able to go see a game in Montreal knows it's a fantastic place to watch our team. There's always a lot of Leaf fans there, even though they try to stick us all the way at the top, the very, very top, to try to keep us quiet. But you can always hear us. And that's the thing too. Like, there's a lot of camaraderie with fans that go on these road trips. So you're always surrounded by Leaf fans. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So that's probably our first one, but Chris, you want to add to some other ones that are highlights for us?
Yeah. I mean, we always wanted to go to Chicago Stadium. We were honored to go. We were honored to go to the Forum, and that game that we went to actually was the return of Pat Burns for the first time, and so that was a huge moment for both of us. I think just to go there, and to be at that game. And I believe Wendell, who's right behind me here, I think he scored the winning goal.
Well, now,
I remember.
I'm sure you were in all your regalia. What was it like for you cheering and being in enemy territory?
Oh, we didn't care. Actually,
no, we're unabashed about that.
Yeah. The only place that we were kind of scared about that was in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We were, I don't know. That was kind of awkward there, but otherwise we didn't care. But going back to Chicago Stadium, we always wanted to go there, but we never made it. And so we made the road trip a few years back to basically the United Center in Chicago. And that was a lot of fun. We really liked that. And seeing it's an Original Six franchise. So seeing the history and they had like the museum there and outside the building, they had the statues like the way we do now of Legends Row and that. So that was pretty special. And then we've also been to Nashville now, and then we just want to keep adding to it. Basically, we've been individually, like Syl's been with her family to Tampa. I haven't been to Tampa yet, but I've been to Edmonton. I'm on my own. So and then of course our most recent trip was Arizona and Vegas, but we want to do a lot more. We did go to see Detroit too. Remember,
before the pandemic shut us all down. But and that was really, really nice rink too. So
that's the best rink, basically the Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah, right now. So far that we've been to.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mentioned Chicago Stadium closing. Of course, Maple Leaf Garden also closed. And you have talked about how there's something that you do miss about the old place, standing on Carlton Street. There was, in a way, more access to the players than you can get now. Will you talk about that?
Well, you start, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like there's things were a little bit different back then, right? Mm-hmm. So you could wait outside and like even sometimes I remember waiting for tickets outside Maple Leaf Gardens for whether it be the playoffs or the start of the regular season. I mean, the only way you could get tickets, you would have to go down there, and there was like a big lineup wrapped around the arena, around Maple Leaf Gardens, and you'd stand out there, and the players would be coming by, or some players anyways would be coming by. And then there's also, I guess, certain spots where you knew that they would come out on the corner of Church and Wood Street in the back entrance, that sort of thing. So if you wanted to get an autograph, you could actually get one. Whereas now you can't, because everything is like, for kids and that, everything, it's all underground, right? They just drive their car down underneath the Scotiabank Arena and they're gone and disappeared. So you don't have that access anymore. So yeah, it was something cool to actually meet a hockey player back then, an actual NHL player.
Mm-hmm. And like too, like they would go after the games to like the same places we would go. Like, you know, you go across the street from the Gardens to PM Toronto and they would all be there. And like, that wasn't like a fancy bar or anything, but now everything is so exclusive that it's, you know, made it a lot less accessible to, you know, us, you know, us fans, I guess.
Well, were there any players that you remember were especially men of the people, or on the other end, ones who didn't really give the fans the time of day?
I don't know. I mean, it was only like for a few seconds, right? There was nobody really that would actually stop and take the time to like have a conversation with you, sort of thing, right? You would just ask them for their autograph and they were more than willing to do that, right? And most of the time we were too nervous anyways to actually have the conversation, right? You kind of like, you're in awe that you have this person in front of you all of a sudden, right? But I guess the one guy actually that I remember, because I took my niece to the training facility. Now is it called the Ford Center, I think now? There, that one out in Etobicoke. Yeah. So when I took my niece there, this is like when Dion Phaneuf was the captain of the Leafs. So I guess 2012, 2011, we met Paul Ranger. He was a member of the team then. And he was very nice, like to my niece. He wanted to like asking her, she was only like 13, 14, but she was just so excited to meet somebody that was on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, so yeah, I remember him taking the time, and I thought that was really nice, asking her about her school and stuff like that. And just being more personable.
Something like that makes such a huge impression on a young person, you know? So it's too bad that, you know, there's very limited, very curated, very scheduled opportunities only now, right? Nothing, you can't get that kind of organic sort of, you know, meet up with people like you used to be able to. So, yeah, I wish that they could do more that way.
One more personal question for both of you, and then I'll close with a couple of questions about the upcoming season. So I'll ask you, Sil, first, and then Chris, you follow up. First hockey sweater for each one of you, if you remember.
Oh, well, I didn't get one until very, very late on. Honestly, my very first one that I ever bought was, actually, no, I do have a couple ones. Okay. I'm not even sure I want to say this one. It's, I had a number 11 Guy LaRose jersey. Most people might not even remember him, but
he wasn't a Leaf, was he?
Yeah, yes. He was.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not for very long, and then he did get traded. I think he got traded to Calgary, but yeah, I do have that. That was my very first one. Yeah, I liked.
Why?
He's like a well, I liked his, like, he was a smaller guy. I thought he was sort of like a Doug Gilmour light a little bit at that time. He had a lot of energy on the ice, fast skater. Yeah.
Sounds good. What about you, Chris?
My first jersey, actually, I didn't have a name on it. It was number 10 though. So it was for John Anderson, at the time. And then, yeah, because I actually did like him as a player, but then later on that same year, I got Rick Vive was my first jersey, number 22.
Well, I could relate to maybe not having a memento of the greatest player in team history, because the first baseball game I went to was Bat Day at Yankee Stadium. They actually gave out full-size bats, okay?
Wow.
And I wanted a Mickey Mantle because why not?
Of course.
So did everybody. I ended up with a Jake Gibbs. Now, Jake Gibbs was a backup catcher, not even a starter, a backup catcher for the Yankees. That's the bat I got. But you know what? To this day, I still have my Jake Gibbs bat.
Yeah, and it's obviously, I'm sure it means a lot to you still. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, now 2021 divisions are back where they were. Fans are back. You're about to enjoy the start of Leafs training camp. So have you weighed in? Have you thought much about who you think might be a camp standout?
You want to go first, Sil?
Me?
Yeah,
go. Sure.
All right, you want? I can go
camp
first.
Standout. Well, I don't know. I think that the biggest part of this off season is all the question marks, and so it's really hard to say, I think, who is going to stand out. However, I will say, the fact that Nylander had such a good playoff, I hope that he can kind of carry that forward into the start of the season. And as we just talked about actually on our latest podcast, if people want to tune in, we talk a little bit about this, especially given the fact that Austin Matthews, he's the one I normally would say, because he's always a standout. But he's going to be sidelined for a little bit. So with his wrist injury, so someone's going to have to step up and fill that void a little bit at the beginning. I would also like to see, Mitch kind of come around and sort of get the fans back on his side pretty quickly. But other than that, I mean, there could be some of the new guys that, stand out, like Andre Kasha, for example. He's had a lot of concussion issues. Hopefully, by all accounts, he's 100% now. He's a guy that could really turn some heads, I think, because he's a very talented player, and he's just been sidelined so many times with injuries. So if he can get healthy and stay healthy, he's somebody who could really stand out, I think, to me.
Yeah, and I agree with Sil on all of those. I'm actually going to pick this Michael Bunting. That is one of the new players on our team, and apparently he's supposed to have some attributes like Brad Marchand. So that should be interesting if he does. But he's a player a lot of people are excited about him. Apparently, because of that, and he's kind of like Zach Hyman type player too. So we unfortunately lost, and that's a big loss on our team. So we definitely need somebody to fill his shoes. So if Michael Bunting can do that, that would be, or his skates, I guess. Michael Bunting can do that. That would be fantastic. It's possible because Kyle Dubas actually drafted him back in the Sioux too. So, which I just read up on a little while ago. So he knows him. So there obviously has to be something there for him to bring him back or to give him a try on the Leafs. And then the other guy I guess I picked was Rasmus Sandin. We really need either him or Timothy Liljegren. I think Sandin is a little bit better of a defense prospect, but I think one of those guys has to make it onto the big club for this upcoming season, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in our training camp.
Okay, and we'll close with this, and Chris will go first. I don't know if the Magic 8 Ball is back from the shop, if you've dusted it off, but if you have, maybe you can give us either a Maple Leafs or even a league-wide regular season list of expectations or predictions.
Oh, predictions. Well, we can't give any predictions because we don't even know what our team is going to look like for that. But and a lot of teams actually are in the same.
Wait a second. You don't know how hot takes work. You don't have to have facts.
I like to have facts. So.
Okay.
I don't give predictions yet until I've seen the team has to come out of camp first, and I see the team, and then I can maybe give a better prediction.
Are you feeling optimistic?
No, I'll say actually I'm not 100% optimistic. Just a lot of it too is because of the goaltending. I was a huge Freddie Anderson fan, and this tandem goalie situation that we're going to have now with Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek, I'm just a little bit worried. I hope I don't have to be, and I hope Jack Campbell plays as great as he did in the end of last season. But I have to and stay healthy too. That's one of my main concerns too with Jack Campbell is his injury history. But yeah, so I'm not 100% optimistic, but then I never give up on the Leafs. That's for sure.
And Sil, are you generally more optimistic than Chris? Who's the optimist?
I am more optimistic. I'm usually yes. The one that pulls her back from the edge there. Yeah, obviously, like we've been saying, there's tons of question marks, and this, I think, going to be like this for the foreseeable future, is that it's going to be a revolving door every off season, because they have to kind of fill around the core. So we're going to always have new guys that we don't really know how they're going to fit. So that's never a comfortable spot for Leaf fans to be in, with not having, 100% known commodities. But I don't know. I tend to trust the plan. And I think that the people that are running this team are among the smartest people in the league for sure. So I kind of feel like they're going to keep working it until they get it right. And so whether this season is that season, that remains to be seen. But I am optimistic that one of these times they're gonna get it together.
Chris, did that help?
No. Because that's basically what she tells me every show that we have, right? But I mean,
she doesn't buy it anytime. No.
I mean, I just think that, I mean, I think they will get it done, like the way she said, but I'm not so sure that this year that they have the right combination there. And and I'm not so sure about how
I didn't say I was sure about that either.
Yeah.
But So I mean, bottom line is we love to watch the games, and whenever it comes to the Leafs, whether it's things are going great or things are going bad, there's always drama, and it's always fun. So I'm looking forward to getting back and being able to watch something live and feeling the energy of the rest of the Leafs Nation with us. That's like a feeling that, I think once we're there it's probably going to be pretty emotional, frankly. So I think that's for sure. We're really looking forward to that.
Chris and Sil, ladies talking Leafs, a new episode drops first Wednesday of every month. You can get this type of entertainment every time they do a podcast. Mm-hmm. And this was terrific, and we thank you so much for taking the time to share it with us, and we hope you'll come back.
Oh, we definitely will. And I want to add one more thing before we go, if you don't mind, because you mentioned that very kindly that it is our second anniversary. We actually have a contest going on right now that you can enter on Instagram. So all you have to do is look for our anniversary post, and we hope you to continue to grow and improve the podcast. And we know Leafs fans are a big family, so please tell your family and friends and listen and subscribe to our show. Thank you so much for having us on, Glenn. We really appreciate it.
Well, if you really appreciate it, can you rig the contest so I win?
We'll talk.
Oh.
Just kidding. No.
That's right. Wink, wink. All right. Thanks, Chris and Sil. Very much appreciated. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that will do it for this edition of Hockey Time Machine. We want to thank Lora Evans, who, without her, we wouldn't have had Lanny McDonald. And we want to thank Paul Patskou. Without him, we wouldn't have had access to Chris and Sil. And I'll thank me, because without me, you would have had to find something entertaining to do for the last hour and a half. Like the program, subscribe to the program, hit a button, like a button, do something with a button, please. You'll feel better. For those going to the after party, we'll see you there. And for everybody else, thanks for watching this edition of Hockey Time Machine. Good night.